What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Live Locks presented by Scores and Odds. If you haven't checked it out already, just making bad life choices. Going over to scoresandodds.com where you got picks from me, Meansy, this piece of crap right here, pointing the wrong direction. Plus, you get access to our prop shopping tool where you can see what we have projected for each individual prop and more of the best lines at. And most importantly, you get access to Grant's Action Lounge where I'm throwing in all my picks each and every day. I'm joined today by this piece of crap, Daniel Chevelson, aka Dean78904. That might have gotten that correct. I might not have. Who knows? How you doing there, Daniel?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I've been listening to Arcade Fire for the last hour and a half, rocking out to one of their live concerts, and yeah, I'm in a good mood. I'm feeling good. It's Friday. Happy to be on the show. Happy to talk some props. Yeah, looking forward to it. Should be a fun basketball slate as well. It's not too many games. It's like 12 or whatever. I believe it's 8. Some good ones out there. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, should be a good one. I'm excited. I gotta get drunk on alcohol tomorrow to get ready for the waste management next week.
Are you playing? You're going to the waste management? I assume that's. I'm guessing that's a golf. Is that in Phoenix?
Yeah, you don't know about. You don't know about the waste management,
dude. I'm not a golf person, but I'm pretty sure that they sponsor a golf tournament. And I'm guessing it's going down in Phoenix. Is this the one you qualified for that you're playing in, or is it something else?
No. What did I qualify for?
You and your dad won some kind of golf competition?
No, that was the waste management is the one with the stadium on number 16 that everyone just gets hammered at.
Oh, are you going to go to the stadium? You're going to be on 16?
Yeah, we got a private tent on 16, me and like 10 other guys, and we're going to get drunk on alcohol.
Where was my invite? Somewhere. I guess it was lost in the mail, but I appreciate it. Have a good time.
You don't golf. You didn't even know the tournament existed.
I could spectate. I could do that.
Yeah.
You're not golfing at the event. Yeah, you don't have to. Do you play football? You've been to football games.
I play football. I go throw.
Yeah, you and Uncle Rico in the backyard.
Yeah, you think I could hit that mountain?
Which mountain is that? Oh, that's an Uncle Rico line. Yes, you were adding on.
That job I made. Let's get to basketball. I got some bets. I don't have a ton of bets. There's not a ton of bets earlier on the day anymore, just because so many different. Yeah, everyone's going nuts about Kyrie Irving going to the Lakers.
Of course, it's the Lakers. Yeah.
Everyone's commenting on reuniting Russ and KD, and then reuniting Kyrie and Braun. That would be beautiful.
Would it though?
Absolutely. Oh, I would love.
Would it matter? Would it actually matter though? Like when it comes down to it?
Yes. If Kyrie went to the Lakers, they would immediately be one of the best teams in the league.
Okay, but you're assuming Davis is still there.
Yes.
If they can make that work, then I think that they try that. Yes, but I don't know how you get him without giving anybody up. But okay, good luck. I guess Russ would obviously be the guy, but that's not really giving any. That's
or even a 3-team deal where you ship off Russ for some 3-and-D guys and a decent big, and you get Kyrie and some other guys, because I mean that's a huge salary dump. It'll be interesting if it does happen, but I doubt it's going.
What about Denver? Are they going to get involved? Like Bones, it seems like he was DMP-CD last night. He unfollowed the Denver Nuggets. He seems very, very likely to get traded. Freddie Van Vliet, by the way,
shipped out.
What's that?
He's getting shipped out.
It seems that way. Yeah, he just doesn't really, unfortunately, he's a good player theoretically going, at some point, and he's fine now, but they are in win now mode, and I don't know what the falling out there is. Maybe he doesn't like his role, but I think some team could use him. Theoretically, he could be a good player going forward. Curious to see how it goes down. Next Thursday is the trade deadline, so still got 6 days. And what are the Jazz going to do? Because everybody just assume they're just going to move everybody. But they are surprisingly playing pretty well. Marketing an all-star, a well-deserved all-star. They're now at 500. They overachieved immensely at the start of the year, but yeah, really curious to see. And with the play-in now, I guess teams think they have more of a chance, but basically it's just, delaying the inevitability of who's going to get knocked out. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. And of course, Twitter's having a good time with the Kyrie thing, and that just broke like a minute or two before he went on the air. But if you want to get to the picks, by all means, go for it. That's what the people want, right?
Yeah. Someone commenting that I misspelled Chiefs, which I have done every single time for the last 5 years. It's that I before E except after C. Doesn't make sense.
Huh. How do you spell them? Like chefs?
CHIEFS. Yeah. I don't care.
Okay.
I'm not paid to spell. Let's get to some bets. Siakam's going nuts tonight.
What's interesting about him is like he's kind of fallen back and Freddie's been taking over. But yeah, the matchup obviously against Houston is really, really good. You're talking about going nuts on points, like rebounds. What are you talking? Because I was just
going PRA. I'm going PRA over 37.5. I'm going points over 25.5.
Yeah, I mean the Rockets are really, really vulnerable. Just as like just an overview as far as the teams that are playing tonight, I just thought it was interesting that we have the 6 worst teams as far as defensive rating playing tonight, from worst to 6th worst. San Antonio, Detroit, the aforementioned Rockets, 3rd worst, Charlotte, Utah, and Portland. The 6 worst teams defensively, and the 5 worst teams as far as specifically giving up points in the paint. It is San Antonio, Detroit, Sacramento, Utah, and Atlanta. Maybe we could talk about that later on in the show. But just a kind of an interesting little note, some of the things I was digging into. But you talk about Pascal. Rockets, of course, give the most three-pointers in the league by more than almost one more than everybody else. They're also the most they give up the most steals, and they give up the most blocks. I believe it's most blocks as well. They're 1 or 2. They love giving up stocks. And they're without, I don't know if it's good or bad, but like no KPJ and no Green, who can both be reckless. But now it's going to be Deshaun Nix. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game there for sure. What else? Did you have a thing as far as Freddie Van Vliet, because he's played 38 minutes at minimum in his last 5 games. 3-pointers feels like a great spot. I didn't love the number, Grant. I pulled it up on the fly. I was talking about the 3-pointers pre-show. It's a pretty big number. Vegas is aware of this. Over 3.5 plus 110 looks like the best you can get at DK.
Yep.
I want a little more positive juice for it.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit tough. I mean, look at Fred Van Vliet game log, and I mean he's been chucking recently, but 4 for 9, 2 for 8, 2 for 8. 5 for 10, 2 for 9, 4 for 8, 4 for 6, 6 for 12, 5 for 13. Like he's been shooting lights out recently. But the volume is
3 in the season. Per 36, he averages 2.9, so he basically averages 3 on the season. So that is his average, but 3.5. But then the matchup you got to factor in. So
yeah, the line I think is where it should be at. Like that's the main thing. When people are like, "Oh, why would you ever bet that person's over?" Well, I'm betting the line. Like, if Fred Van Vliet's line was at 1.5, I'd bet that every game. If it was at 5.5, I'd bet the under every game. Like it's how things work. So
correct.
Yeah, I'm betting the line. You know who else is gonna go nuts in that game? One of your favorite players.
Is it Operating Şengün?
It is.
I love Şengün. He's my favorite.
Is it Şengün or Sengun? I can never remember.
Şengün.
All right. Well, Şengün.
Şengün. Yeah. Operating Şengün
is going to hit his over on points, rebounds, assists, sitting at 33.5 minus 119 over at Caesars. He's been good. Like he's been real good. Obviously, like distributing the ball a ton. This line just seems a little bit too low. Averaging 6 assists since the beginning of last month. He's just like he's been saying at 37.5. I know that possibility about Jabari Smith playing is not really going to change anything. Like he's kind of the guy with no Green, with no Porter there.
He runs the offense.
Yeah, and he's playing any game that stays close, high 30s minutes on a nightly basis.
Yep. It's foul trouble can be a thing on occasion, but assuming he dodges foul trouble, probably going to play 34, 35, 36, something like that. Jabari Smith He's questionable. The thing with him, if he doesn't go, Tari Eason, I don't know if you watched the game yesterday. You probably
I
didn't.
watched the 2-minute or the 1 minute, whatever it was, vid clip.
But like he missed like 19 layups. I think it's also worth noting. Like to get 19 offensive rebounds, whatever the number was, he just kept missing inside. And I can't remember who he played against now. I was watching the game, but it was against a smaller opponent, I believe. And Eason's a good sort of energy guy. He's got a little like Montrezl Harrell in him. He's probably better than Montrezl Harrell, certainly at this point in Harrell's stage of his career. But Eason would be really interesting if Jabari doesn't go. The absence of Jalen Green and Porter, Şengün's basically the point center. They call him, like you've heard, Baby Jokic before. And, he's not as good as Jokic, obviously, but you sort of see, you see glimmers. And by the way, you know how old he is? I'm always an age watch. You know how old Prince Şengün is?
Is he 20?
I believe he's still just 20, yeah.
I'm surprised you know how old he is after he went downhill after the age of 19. You go downhill, according to Dino Schvelson.
He does not turn 21 until... Oh man, day after my birthday. So not until July 25th will he be able to legally purchase a beverage in the United States.
Well, now I know your birthday.
There you go.
July 24th, born in 1902.
That's some good deductive reasoning. Congratulations.
Yeah. Moving on to the next bet. This one's not really relevant anymore because it moved a full point. LaMelo Ball under 25.5 points, minus 104 at Caesars. It's already at 24.5 with heavy juice on the under. So you got some decent closing line value there already. Conley under 23.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 115 over at FanDuel. We'll see if that one's changed, but Conley just really not doing much anymore. Just collecting a paycheck, a big paycheck still.
He's fine. He's doing, they don't ask him to do a ton, but he's doing okay. But he's not. At one point in the league, maybe 7 years ago, he was the most paid player in the league. There was a moment where he was the high. He signed the best contract or the biggest contract in the game. I can't remember if it was like in full or like per year. I think it was like in full, but yeah. And they're also like
$20 million a year.
Yeah. And you pull it up like what did he sign 6-7 years ago, whatever it was when he signed that big deal?
It was about 7 years ago. 152 mil, 5 years.
Yeah, I didn't realize they reverse backloaded it. I guess it's only 20 mil the last season.
The contract ended, so.
Oh, okay, it's different contract.
Signed a new one for about 20 mil a year, which still got 1 year left. I don't know if he's still signed under the next year, but yeah, 23.5, bit too high here. I'm rolling with the under.
Did you say you had the LaMelo unders today? Is the number just too high? Because that defense for Detroit is obviously terrible.
Oh, it's not good, but also potential chance of a blowout. LaMelo Ball, it was just sitting at 25.5. I'm like, that's far too high, especially with pretty close to even money. I mean, you look at since the beginning of last month, he's averaging 22.5. And like I said, it's already moved to 24.5. So yeah, 24.5 with, I think, heavy juice on the under. Yeah. No. Everywhere else, I think it's a little bit heavier. Yeah, minus. No, just moved a full point. I'd still take the under at 24.5, to be honest.
Do you move the needle? Is that what's going on here in live time?
I don't think so, but you never know. On FanDuel, I move the needle. That's for sure. Oh, they keep me around just to move lines, which smart way to do it, FanDuel. No, I mean, like they're kind of known for that. Like some people, they will limit to oblivion, but some people they'll still get like $200 down on a bet and just use them to move the line.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown, what do you think his points line is at?
What do I think his points line is at? 21.
That's a horrible line.
Is
25.5.
Well, you were framing it in a way. I guess I was trying to read into what you're suggesting.
25.5. The guy's been super solid recently. Not a terrible match versus Phoenix. I'm not going to be surprised if Bridges guards Tatum. Brown, should easily hit this over. He's hit the over in 4 out of the last 5 games. He's been in solid form. Not going to be a terribly high-scoring matchup, but yeah, I took the over on Brown. What can Brown do for you?
Marcus Smart's still out. What's that?
What can Brown do for you?
I guess hopefully he get you an over. That is the goal for you. I have no issues there. I guess that makes sense. That McHale jail, they'll throw him on Tatum. That kind of makes sense to me, right? And I guess they'll put Cam Johnson or Craig on him, on Brown,
or Paul.
I guess. Yeah, I guess that's possible. I mean, yeah, Derek White's still out there, Brogdon, and there's a lot of positionless basketball, a lot of transition basketball as well. But your overall point is, I think you're just not afraid whatever Phoenix defender ends up on him for the most part.
Yeah, pretty much. So I like the over there. Hurdle. What do you think his line's at?
Okay, so here's the thing. I actually have a take on this one, and I wanted to run it by you. There's a decent chance that Embiid does not play today, right? And I think one of the first reactions, of course, is like James Harden's going to smash. He's going to get a ton of usage way and be prepared for that. But if Hurdle has to face Embiid, I don't necessarily love him. And San Antonio is without many pieces today. They are super, super thin, the Spurs. There's no Trey Jones. The point guard's ruled out. Sohan, the 4, is ruled out. Langford is not going to play. Devin Vassell's been out for a while as well, too. I think they're down to like 9 or 10 bodies in San Antonio. Let's count them. Yeah, 10. They called up a dude named Blake Wesley, who's a point guard. Pirtle usually directly backed up by Zach Collins. Point is, and I'm curious where you're at on this, because I think that Pirtle is an awesome bet if Embiid doesn't go and all of a sudden he gets Montrezl Harrell, and like if Paul Reed gets dusted off. PJ Tucker, not necessarily ideal, but I think he gets a significant upgrade. And, of course, more usage thrown his way, more responsibility in the absence of Jones, Vassell, and Sohan. So I think he's an interesting sneaky over, but I don't know how I feel about locking it in now without knowing about Embiid. So where are you at?
I got minus 115 at 10.5.
Even
if Embiid does end up playing, they're probably – and, the lines are moved to like minus 120, minus 135, depending on where you're at. My main thing is that even if Embiid ends up playing, yes, it's a tough defensive matchup. Yes, there's a chance of foul trouble. He's still going to play a decent amount of minutes.
Yeah, I mean, they want to match big versus big, and Embiid's going to eat Pirtle alive and he'll eat Collins alive, but I think Pirtle will give him a double battle. So, yeah, I don't mind that at all. I think that's a good bet, and if you can kind of ladder that, if you want to bet on Embiid sitting, and this feels like right on the road against the Spurs, you're not disappointing home fans, and the Spurs are just dreadful. You're a 10-point favorites as is. Now this is the same team that lost to the Magic last week when they were like 10-point favorites or something like that. They can scuffle at times, but it certainly feels like if you need to give Embiid a day, this is a good spot to give him a day. And he's been dealing with this foot forever, right? Every single game, foot questionable. And now if you want to make the argument he's trying to get an MVP or something, and he certainly is a guy that seems to be motivated by other factors sometimes. The game against Jokic where he just absolutely went nuts. That was probably, if you want to call statement game, right? This is a game where he can really stat pad. So it's one I'm heavily monitoring. I was just writing about this game 20 minutes before we jumped on here. I think it's a super interesting, if then conversation.
Yeah, I mean, Harden might be worth a shot right now at 21.5.
Yes. What about triple double? Is that available?
Let's check. FanDuel.
Because if Embiid doesn't go, Harden's he's just going to skyrocket.
Yeah, let's look.
They're probably not out there.
What do you think a triple double line is at
currently?
Yeah.
They should give you a little bit for risking it. I think it should be around like 4 or 5 to 1.
Plus 550.
Yeah, I mean that's if you think Embiid's not gonna play. If you want to bet on that,
you can get 583. If you just do 10 plus rebounds, 10 plus assists. I'll check Caesars right now and see what they have. But I mean, that's potentially not a bad line.
I think that's pretty good.
Let's
And it
see.
doesn't mean you're not dead if Embiid plays, but certainly your chances take a hit, a pretty strong hit. But
I don't see triple double on Caesars. They just have
you
double
said
double.
you made your own, right? You just built your own and you got a better line.
Yeah, if you just do 10 plus rebounds, 10 plus assists, it's plus 583.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I don't hate that.
Max they'd let you get anyone get. It's not just a horrible gambler. Is $500. They'll probably let me get 30. Yeah, I don't hate that. No. FanDuel, well, we can check right here. How much do you think FanDuel will let me get down?
$40.
I might as well hit it. Whatever they let me get down, just because. Why not? $50. Wow, that's way more than normal.
They must think it's a terrible bet.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Next bet, Trae Young. I hit this so often, and I miss nearly every time. I'm going back to the well. Trae Young, over 28.5 points, minus 108 over at FanDuel. Trae going up against a team that is terrible defensively in Utah. I guess I just have to.
You want my counter to this one?
I already bet it, so sure.
Utah is the definitive come inside funnel. Basically, they do a really good job.
They're actually ranked fifth in allowing fifth best in allowing 3-pointers made.
Well, as far as giving up points in the paint, I believe they're 1, 2, or 3. On the season. Doesn't mean Trae can't come to he can go to the paint, right? But 3 is greater than 2. He will drive to the basket, obviously. Kessler is
he's not really making a ton of 3-pointers this season.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Trae Young fan, just as is too. So maybe I think he's one of the more overrated players in the league as far as helping your team win.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, that's a hit on his defense too.
And Utah is currently 4th allowing points in the paint.
Okay. But opponents 3-pointers made per game.
They're 4th.
Let's see. 3-pointers attempted, they gave up the 4th least amount. And they give the 4th least amount made as well. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So Trae Young on the season is averaging 2.1 3-pointers per game. Most of his points are coming in the paint and from the line.
It's weird. And I haven't fully dug into this, but watching Walker Kessler, he's a young developing rookie, obviously. But I think he's a pretty good rim protector, individually, but they also give a ton of points.
I think he's better than Gobert this season.
He's better than him in a lot. Yeah, and that's of course who was traded for Gobert, amongst other assets too.
Yeah, ironic.
Yeah. Obviously, it's been said a billion times how regrettable that decision was for Minnesota. They drank some warm milk, pulled an anchor man. But Kessler.
A bad choice.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, so it's weird that anybody had 7 blocks the other day. I think he's one of the better blockers in the league. But that doesn't always translate. Doesn't always mean you're a really good defender. But I think he is a good defender, actually. I assume just getting better.
According to most metrics, he is. Scary Terry. I'm taking his over on 3-pointers made, minus 122 over at FanDuel. Sitting at 2.5. We have him projected for 3.27. Match versus Detroit. Terrible defensive team. Terry's been crushing it. I think he's hit 6 out of the last 8, and he's had a minimum of 8 attempts from beyond the arc in the last 8 games. I'm rolling with it.
I have no issues picking on Detroit's defense.
All right. Last bet I got. It's a bonus. Over 21.5 points. He's coming off a great game. Granted, he was hyper efficient there. I think he went 15 for 20 from the field. Do you know who he used to play for?
I believe he used to be an Indiana Pacer.
Yes. Do you know who he's playing tonight?
I believe he's playing the Indiana Pacers.
Nope. He's going for 30.
Yeah, I saw Meansy calling the triple double by the end of the third quarter. That wouldn't surprise me. I saw he had a game against the Pacers last year where the Kings beat him by like 25. So he didn't play that much, but he almost got a triple double as well. Do you know who used to play for the Sacramento Kings that's also playing in this game?
Mr. Halliburton.
Yeah.
Buddy Hyde.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. That one's true, but Buddy Hield as well. Yeah, you got the all revenge game for sure. Halliburton came last night from injury, and he played a ton of minutes. Like there was no minute restriction. 35, right? 24 shots.
We were talking about on the show yesterday. Like I feel like he's going to be limited. No, he was not.
It wasn't a cardio thing. I think it was a wrist. I think it's non-shooting ham or something. Maybe I think it was a wrist or a shoulder. It was like an arm, a part of his arm, like as far as his injury. So cardio was not a problem. And like for a second, I thought like maybe Halliburton doesn't play tonight. Back half of a back-to-back, just came back, played 35 minutes last night. Maybe that's why they pushed him a little bit last night, knowing he would sit today. But dude is not sitting versus the Kings. Like that ain't happening. There's no chance, right? They're letting him. He's going to
think about his points prop now.
Assist as well. I meant to check his potential assist last night, but points and assist. I think he's going to do some things here against Sacramento. Great. 235.5 is the total here. Good environment as far as these two teams, just as far as how they play. Pace wise, Sacramento's 8th, Indiana's 4th. It's really, really tight. They could be even closer. Yeah, it's a pretty appealing game. Indiana and Sacramento also bottom 10 as far as defense. Around 8, 9, 10. Not bottom 5 like we talked about before, but should be a fun game for some offense. And I like both Sabonis and Halliburton to both do their thing.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm loving I got a nice little future on the Lakers. Did I tell you about that?
No.
50-1. I put a $500 free bet down. So 50 to win, 500 to win 24 G's.
They got to win the title?
Yep.
All right. I mean, you're saying you're loving it because potentially Kyrie's coming to town?
Yeah. Well, I've been assuming that they're going to ship off Westbrook, which is the main thing holding them back. Like whether it's to Indiana for Buddy Hyde, Miles Turner, some other person, whether it's to the Spurs for Pirtle and Josh Richardson, which Josh Richardson would fit perfectly in that lineup. They're going to ship off Westbrook somewhere. And I just what's their odds? I wonder what their odds are at now. Let's see. Futures. Kind of want to put more money down on them. You can still get them at 50-1. It's moved to 40-1, 35-1 over on DK. Man.
I mean, AD, Braun, and Kyrie is a really interesting, I mean, the thing is always, again, they could so use like KCP, just like that kind of player so badly. Just the 3-and-D guy. It's just going to, not necessarily show up in the box score, but just help you win. A DFS, a Dorian Finney-Smith. Like that kind of player would be so useful. And they just don't have it. And they traded for Hachimura, who ain't that guy. He's not that guy.
Not that guy. Yeah.
I don't know why they're doing that.
It's going to be an interesting week, to say the least. Even a guy like Fred VanVleet would be good in that offense.
Oh, by the way, just for a second, Fox is not playing tonight for Sacramento. I don't know if you mentioned that. I just thought it was worth mentioning.
It is worth mentioning. And, yeah. Again, Boner's going nuts.
Yeah, I think that he actually. I think I was looking at his rates, and it's not as dramatic as you'd think, but they do increase, right? So yeah, just if you were on the fence about Sabonis, if you weren't convinced about Sabonis revenge game, whatever you say, he's an even stronger play with the absence of Fox. But go ahead, you were saying.
That's pretty much it. I mean, we've hit the 30-minute mark. You got anything else before we get out of here?
We're up against the clock. We got to go.
I mean, we don't have to. We could sit here and talk for hours about Brendan Fraser. I've got other things I need to do. I need to eat. I still haven't eaten yet today.
Well, it's only 11 o'clock. That one, though. It's 12:30 by yet.
12:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some quick UCF math by me. Thank
I've
you.
been up for 4 hours.
You don't think like
So-
to make a little bit of breakfast at any point?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm
Well, never mind.
having breakfast. Some fun. Nino, thanks for joining me. We're out
Yeah,
here.
good to have you.